Hello everybody and welcome back to Knights and Dragons. I have a confession to make. The audio you're hearing now was recorded later. The truth is that I recently endured an update in my recording software and it threw off how the audio gets exported. So I'm going to be watching this video along with you and doing my best to record my voice over it. So, in this episode, we are going to deal with the blaze spawner that's just off of my mountaintop, where I hope to get some blaze powder so that I can pursue some of the Ars Nouveau advanced level stuff, intermediate level stuff. And then, because I am trying to test the experience of what it would be like for any given random player, I'm going to say, well, the next step to getting blaze rods would be to go to the Nether. We've got a new map mod, and it allows me to layer stuff to see topographical view, mob view, daylight, nighttime, cave view, all kinds of neat stuff. I like the map because the previous map mod I was using, Zero's minimap, it allows you to teleport to places. And it's not as intuitive to drop waypoints. What I want is a map that's kind of got that RPG feel where you can sort of drop a pin somewhere and then travel to it, as opposed to, being able to fast travel or teleport to someplace. You can zoom in really far, as you can see here. But I don't want people to be able to teleport. Even if I do a server someday, I know teleportation is a staple of servers, but it really takes away from a lot of the Skyrim style far travel. I've been playing a game called Outward recently, and there is no fast travel. You have to walk everywhere. And it takes time, but it makes you consider your journey carefully before you make it. It incorporates travel as a mechanic, as a cost, the time as a cost to any endeavor. And I think that it helps because it's delayed gratification, right? It gets back to that idea of lengthening your attention span by deliberating on something, planning something in advance, and then getting ready to go do it, and then doing it. It's not just an immediate jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. So I'm rambling while I wait for the scene to end here. It looks like I've found the topographical map feature, and that's the mode I'm going to leave it on by default. So with that out of the way, I'm going to jump ahead to the next thing. Once again, I have to apologize, but this is just going to be soundless pretty much. I know my voice is not the most exciting to listen to all day long, so I'll try to keep this video a little bit briefer than normal. But here I'm basically just beginning my assault on the Blaze Cloud Island thing. I'll time skip ahead so you can see what the result. But basically, what I'm going to be doing is building a wall and a roof around this floating platform to keep the blazes contained. And you don't see any blazes yet, but I will encounter them shortly. So here's a blaze, and being fireproof is very handy, especially in this situation. I think it was up to 3 of them, and I was very lucky that they did not shoot their projectiles out into the world and light things on fire. Getting the lid on was particularly tricky because blazes like to fly up when they're mad, and they're mad as long as they can see you. There we go. Now I can begin farming them properly. There, I got my first rod, and now I'm gonna go get some more. And that's enough for the spellbook. And so I'm back at the house. Okay, somewhere in here is where I realized that I actually don't have the resources that I need in order to make the spellbook, because I convinced myself that I needed 3 blocks of quartz and 2 diamonds instead of 3 diamonds and 2 blocks of quartz. And so I determined that the trip to the Nether was necessary anyway. Here we are getting ready to collect some obsidian from the lava farm, and my spell is not working for harvesting it. There, it worked. Okay. I had to go through some strange iterations. It turns out that I had the use of Amplify confused. Amplify has to come after the thing you want, not before. So in the last episode, I kind of messed that up, but figured it out. And so now the Amplify affects the pickaxe spell, so it now operates less like iron pickaxe, more like diamond pickaxe. And now I'm going to pick this spot in my base for the Nether portal, and I'll jump to when that's finished. Okay, the portal is done, and I am trying to light it using my Fire Breath. The first Fire Breath ability did not work, but when I switched over to the gas-like meteor projectile, boom, there we go. That one worked. Now, I'd also like to pause the video in here and just say that that weird pink particle effect, that weird pink glow that the shader has for the portal, not great for my computer. And on the way out of the portal, it actually caused my whole screen to be black. So I ended up switching out of the texture pack, which you may notice later on. But for now, everything's fine. Loading in, and I'm on top of a big blue tree. And no gas around, although I can hear one nearby. I named this location using the new map mod. Call it Nether Portal B. And hit save. Make it purple, yes. Check all the settings, hit save, there we go. And go venturing out into the ethereal dark world of the Nether. The Nether felt surprisingly welcoming. Not used to that, but being a fire dragon and having nothing to fear from drops or lava, it's an unusual experience. I also fear no rain because it's dry. There's no water that I have to worry about. It's kind of weird that the surface is actually more dangerous to me than the Nether is. I know that they described fire dragons as being at home in the Nether, but I kind of thought it was just for flavor, to actually be there and to experience, like, being able to lower my guard and say, yeah, I don't have to worry about dropping into oceans and stuff. That was really nice. There were some places that were a little unnerving, and this is one of them. This is some kind of bone biome created by the Biomes mod. It's very cool, but it's a bit eerie. This is, I think, calcium that I'm looking at here. Different kinds of crystal, which I never got back to. I really need to explore this and find out what in the world these are, but for now, this calcium stuff, calcite and whatever, it remains a mystery. I just collect a bunch of it using, I think, a shovel. I'm not even sure. I feel like I'm giving a recap of my vacation. Oh yeah, this is the picture of when we went to the beach, and this is the picture of the giant pink tree that gives apples and sticks and very few saplings. I spent probably 10 minutes trying to get saplings from these trees. But they are pretty cool, and not every tree gives purple wood, so, you know. The first critter I find in the Nether happens to be a ghast, and he happens to be quite angry. And I happen to be quite annoyed, because I had been searching for saplings for a while and having no success. And I decided to try hitting him with a spell, and when that failed, I just smacked his fireball back into him at point-blank range, ending his existence. After returning to the portal and dropping off some items, I realized that I had forgotten my initial purpose, and I remembered that I was supposed to be here to look for fortresses. Failing that, I found a bastion, guarded by lots of ghasts, and I continued to try to use these funky new spell, now that I've fixed my Amplify spell. And it seems to not work on ghast fireballs. It does work on ghasts, but because the projectile travels so slowly, it's not the best tool for the job. Arrows work much better, but there is something that works better still. I'd love to show you some footage of me fighting a ghast with my claws, which are equipped with a sword, but of course I ran out of ghasts. So at this point, oh, there's one. Here we go. Oh, two? Yes, great. Yes. Come on past me. Go sick 'em. Stop flying around with that stupid book and just go stab him already. I'm still shooting. You can see my mana dropping on the left, and it's working, but I have to get very close in order to hit them before they move out of the way. And at this point, I started with this magma cream, forgetting that magma cream is pointless to me because I don't need fire res. There we go. That's it. That's how it's done. Yes. Slash them right down the middle. Yep. Yep, here we go. Come on. Come on. Do it. Yes. Good. Good. One hit. One good hit. You have to aim for the top of the body. There we go. That was even a critical hit. Look at how much more effective that is. Oh, there's another one. Come here, you. Great. And now land on the... Yes, good job. Good job. Gotta eat. Gotta keep those wings fueled. Okay. Now, into the fortress. Now, I've created a waypoint for this bastion. And I've also drawn out some of the local wildlife. These piglins, I never really appreciated them. I don't see what the big appeal is. Lots of people were very excited when they came out the first time. I think it was mostly just the factor of their ears. That guy has so much health. It's ridiculous. I fail to see how... oh, that one's got a crossbow. I fail to see how they contribute to the game in a meaningful way. I think that they kind of came from the Microsoft... the woker elements of Microsoft, trying to kind of force a certain narrative by telling the story about an ancient civilization of greedy pigs who are obsessed with gold and who were not very good to their environment and allowed it to become this hellscape. Yeah, I didn't need that while I'm trying to play a game that I use to escape from the stress of real life. So I don't appreciate stuff like that being thrown into this, ridiculous fantasy game that's all about blocks and creative building stuff. I don't want a narrative about ancient scrap because of pigmen being rude or whatever and not recycling properly. I didn't need that. I don't need the strongest element in the game to be something that I have to, learn about garbage in order to get. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just bitter. I don't know. But I liked it better before there were piglins and netherite and all of this stuff. These bastions, oh my goodness, don't get me started. I mean, look at it. It's great, right? It's beautiful. It's scary, and it's supposed to be. It's ominous, it's dark, it has kind of dark wizard vibes. It's also got those bluish, grayish colors that make it feel cold despite being in a hot biome. You don't feel welcomed here. It's not cool. It's dark and brooding. Kind of gothic. And it's good. It's supposed to be, right? It's a bastion of evil in the deep depths of the Nether. That said, of course, as a fire dragon, I loved this, and I want to just do this aesthetic, but warm, right? Replace some of the white and gray with some deeper, warmer colors, reds and browns. But from a game perspective, I can't stand bastions because they replace fortresses. That's how they were implemented. Fortresses are key to the progression of the game. You basically can't go to the end unless you get blaze rods. You can't get blaze rods unless you find a fortress. Now, it used to be that you could find blazes randomly in the Nether, which made this much less important. But if you're going to have blazes only present in fortresses, and then you're going to have fortresses, 2/3 of them are now replaced with bastions, you are now guaranteeing that the player is going to find a bastion, maybe two, maybe three, before they find a fortress. Which means they've got this really cool, awesome thing that's, modern and has all the benefits of being made recently with all these new blocks and all this neat stuff and, all the most recent mechanics. And they can't go into it. So you're just teasing them with it. It's just there, and they can't really face it because they're not strong enough yet, because they haven't gone to the end or dealt with, the rest of the Nether. They don't have fire res potions, just to name a big one. Can you imagine going into a bastion without fire res? Like, that's just... Sure, it's kind of tempting, but it's also suicide. I mean, look at this. Look at how much lava there is everywhere. Which, ironically, the pigmen are not immune to. Another thing that I don't really like about them, zombie pigmen, as I point out later, are immune. There's two hanging out. They're colluding. They're upset because I caught them colluding. But yeah, he knows he can't swim in the lava, and this is where I remembered that I have power stare. There we go. That's where I remember that I have power stare. And then this poor turkey, yep, there he goes. And that starts the magma cream farm over there. There's a spawner with magma cubes, which that's a neat feature. I think that's valuable. To have magma cream is also important for brewing potions, but you're not going to come all the way down here just to get one magma cream. You would die so many times on the way down from lack of, fire res. So, yeah. In sum, Steel is upset about bastions. Steel wishes there were, less bastions and that they spawned under different conditions and didn't replace fortresses. I think it would be neat if the bastions and the fortresses were, like, hostile to each other or something, and there was some sort of internal Nether war going on. Of course, I'm trying to talk to you guys while this magma cream is picking on me. He's one thing that being fireproof doesn't really help you with, because they deal normal physical damage. Anyway, yeah, so as you can see, I've found this place. I'm looting it. I'm going to take all the gold out of here. I got some netherite scrap from that chest. What would you say to the idea of using in control to allow spawning of blazes randomly in the Nether? Not a lot of them, but just periodically. Alright, that's enough of that. So, yeah, I'm just going to return to my house and find out that everything is dark. And I can't see anything. I can see the portal and the portal effects, but this is where I need to turn off my shader in order to get everything back to the way it was. So we're back. The colors are more drab. The lighting is not as good. It's so sad without shaders. I've forgotten how flat it feels. So we definitely need to find a shader that isn't going to do that. Here I am, finally getting ready to make the book. And I realized I needed 3 diamonds and 2 quartz blocks, and I had the materials I needed all along. One, 2, 3, 2 blaze rods, 2 cubes of marble. There we go. Now this will allow me to use the second tier glyphs that I've already unlocked, and as I unlock more tier 2 glyphs, it will let me use those as well. And I will forever have 1 block of quartz that I can't use. That's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'm sorry it was a little different, a little less exciting, not as cool with the sound and all as other episodes, but I apologize, and hopefully I'll have everything figured out for next time, and we won't have to do this again, and yeah, bye!